will you consider, if you get the approval of this House, will you consider introducing reforms such that, for instance, a challenge can be determined before inauguration on the 7th? Will you consider that? That is between the 7th of December and the 6th of January. Will you consider introducing?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Thank you, Honorable Chair. You see, as part of the, as you said, I have been a member of the Election Management Committee of the Judicial Service since 2010. And then I became its chair in 2020. As a part of our engagements last year, we had a lot of stakeholder engagements with IPAC. We had stakeholder engagements with the CDD, CODEO, that is CSOs, and then the Peace Council. The main theme of these meetings was the fact that in 2013, the election petition lasted for almost, it was 8 months. The final decision came on the 29th of August. Essentially, I'm the only surviving member of that panel. Everybody else has retired. The final decision came on the 29th of August because one of the first drawbacks was we spent almost 1.5 months discussing whether to even allow the NDC as a party to join the action. In the long run, at the end of the day, by a majority of 6-3, NDC was joined to the action. It was one of the greatest mistakes we made in that particular trial. And that was one of the first things we touched on after the trial. We went into a conclave and came up with a decision that no, there was no need to join any other party. So CI 99 came up, and that was when we decided that the trial and everything could be done within 42 days. So discussions went on, and we agreed on 42 days maximum for presidential election petitions. And so in 2020, when there was an election petition, it was a straight fight between JDM and then Akufo-Addo at the time, and then the EC. And it took 42 days to deal with that election petition. But we know that Kenya does theirs within 21 days. The only time America faced an election petition that was between Al Gore and Bush in 2000, the election petition, whatever it was, ended with the declaration of the new president before the inauguration. So at most of these forums or fora where we discussed the elections in Ghana, we came to the conclusion that it should be possible to have the election petition concluded before the 7th of January, the inauguration day. And the first suggestion that came, which we think was a masterstroke, was that we should have the elections on the 7th or the 8th of November. If we have the elections on the 7th or the 8th of November, by the 10th, the results would have been declared. If we have the results declared on the 10th of November, we have 20 more days before even November ends. Then 31 days of December, then 6 days of January, making a total of 57 days. Assuming we want to stick to even the 42-day window provided by CI 99, we can have the election petition filed, responded to, and everything tried within the 42 days, because we have 57 days. That is number one. In addition to that, we can have, lawyers say that every originating motion or originating process has to be served personally on the defendant or respondent. But we all know that in this day and age, every form that anybody fills with the EC, you have to provide electronic address. You have to provide email, telephone, WhatsApp, and all that. So instead of saying that you file a petition and it takes 7 days to get to the respondent, using the electronic mail, we can reduce the number of days to, let's say, 3 days. So a process that is filed, if it is served electronically, even the originating process can be filed and served electronically within 3 days. Instead of waiting for, let's say, 1 week for the response, we can reduce the number of days for the response to, let's say, 4 days. So if we adjust times like that, by the time we get to about, let's say, the 30th of November, that's granted that we had the elections on the 7th of November. By the time we get to November ending, processes would have been, pleadings would have closed. CMC, Court Management Conference would have gone through, issues would have been settled, and then the trial will begin. And a trial like that, we can say it should take no more than 2 weeks. And once 2 weeks are there, we say judgment should be given within 1 week on the release of the results. Meanwhile, at this point in time, during December, we have a lot of holidays. But under the fiat of the Chief Justice, the registries can be made to stay open so that processes can be filed, served, exchanged, everything can be done in such a way that we can have all these things done before the end of January, so that by 7th of January, Inauguration Day, we will have our president who will take the sword and swear to his people and be able to say, because we all know in 2013, for 8 months, the president-elect was performing his constitutional duty all right, but he wasn't too sure whether he was going to be chalked off or replaced or what. Even though the 2020 election petition also lasted for only 42 days, it lasted beyond the inauguration. So these are things that we have discussed, and we shall need the input of Parliament when it comes to LIs and CIs to be prepared. So this is what I intend to pursue so that we can have our election petitions, if any, in future. And I'm sure there will be, and before the inauguration day. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Do you have any further question?
Mr. Chairman, thank you. That is so. My Lord, I appear to be the Lone Ranger in this matter. The welfare of the judges at the magisterial level is so dear to me. But I see a disparity in the welfare, in the service of office and conditions of office for what you term professional magistrates, that's lawyer turned magistrates, and the career magistrates. And they do a lot of work, the career magistrates. In some cases, they do relieving in 2 or 3 other district courts within their jurisdiction. So the question is,
yes,
will you consider introducing the career magistrate program to absorb young men who are interested? Yes, reintroduce, because it will be a very heavy source of personnel, and also reforming them in such a way that they will have the opportunity of rising through the ranks to the level. Because recently you just elevated.
Honorable member, I think
finish.
you have
Mr.
asked
Chairman.
your question.
No, Mr. Chairman.
You see, today I said we'll go by the rules. A questioner is not supposed to run commentary. You don't run argument. The foundation cannot be too long. So strictly proceed to ask questions. That is the rule. So Honorable Roxanne Nelson Dapamakpo, ask question.
Chairman, I'm guided. Thank you. So, CJ nominee, will you consider reforming the courses, the career magistrate program in such a way that they'll have the opportunity of rising through the ranks and getting to the highest level? Because they do a lot of work as the same as the professional magistrates. Presently, you have about 75 openings at the magisterial level. You just elevated some from the circuit to the high court. Naturally, you will elevate the district judges to the circuit court.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In the years gone by, when we started practicing, we had the grade 2 magistrates and the grade 1 magistrates. And the grade 2 magistrates were actually not trained lawyers. Most of them were social welfare workers, retired teachers, and the rest. They were grade 2 magistrates. And then lawyers who joined the bench, but were not 3 years, also had to work as grade 2 magistrates. Her Ladyship, Justice Avril Lovely Johnson, was a grade 2 magistrate in Chebi. I appeared before her when I was a lawyer with IRS in Koforidia. I used to appear before her. So that was, but when lawyers get to 3 years, lawyers who had joined the bench got to 3 years, automatically they became grade 1 magistrates. But with the grade 2 magistrates, the original ones, they never had the chance to go beyond grade 2 magistrate. They couldn't join the bench at any level because they were not lawyers. That was the situation of things until sometime, I think in the 90s, the whole concept of grade 2 magistrate was abolished, leaving only professional magistrates, that's lawyers who were magistrates. But then, around the 2000s, the millennium era, this concept of career magistrate was reintroduced. This time they were not called grade 2 magistrates, but they were called career magistrates. But they were doing the same thing. And this time, the judiciary went one step further. Whilst with the grade 2 magistrates, they were just social welfare persons who had retired or been drafted to become magistrates. With the career magistrates, these were even, they could be even as young as 30 years. But they were the very first ones were actually workers with the judicial service who were drafted to undertake 1 year or 2 year course at the law school. So they took 2 year courses and then they were made career magistrates. But they are not lawyers. So their career path carries them only to the chief magistrate level. And that was it. It doesn't matter how long you stay there, you can get to a chief magistracy, and then that will be the end. But we still maintained the 3 years for professional magistrates. So what then became the order of the day is that these lawyers, these career magistrates, then opted to go and read law. And once they went to read law, then they could transition to become professional magistrates. But here was the problem. You find somebody who has been a career magistrate for, let's say, 7 years, 8 years, 9 years, 10 years. Now he goes to the law school, he transitions to become, he's a lawyer now. And because he hasn't spent 3 years, he has to remain on the career magistrate level until he becomes 3 years. He gets to 3 years. Even though he might be more experienced than somebody who has left the law school and, been practicing for the past 3 years. So there was a problem. And then again, I know, for example, in the army, if you go through the rank of, let's say, the junior ranks, the furthest you can go is maybe chief warrant officer. But in the army, you have a warrant officer who, because of longevity, maybe even be receiving a salary higher than that of a captain at a senior officer level. But with the career magistrates, it doesn't matter how long you stay as a career magistrate. You cannot run an incremental that will make you overtake a professional magistrate, somebody who has joined just this year. All these were problems but as your honorable member was saying, only about a month or so ago, we had a send-off party for a couple of our retired career magistrates. And it was when their CVs, their citations were being read that we realized that we really need them. Because these are the people who are prepared to go to the nooks and crannies of the country. Maybe you are a magician, maybe you have been following the judicial service. But the vacancy at the district court is 116 at the district court. We are not getting lawyers to join at the magistracy, at the district court. Most of them want to come to the circuit court and to the high court. So with the current elevation of some circuit court judges to the high court and the district court to the circuit court, we are going to have an opening for 116. And I can assure you, we are not going to get, no matter how often, how much we advertise, we're not going to get people lawyers to come and fill these vacancies. So it is my project that I will be discussing with the Judicial Council, the reintroduction of not only the reintroduction of the career magistrates, but we should be able to have a proper remuneration regime for them, so that those who come can stay. And then, again, it should be possible that there should be a law that makes it possible for somebody who has been a career magistrate for a certain number of years, if he becomes a lawyer, then he doesn't need to wait for another 3 years to become a professional magistrate. There should be a smooth transition. This is a project that I intend to pursue.
Thank you very much. I will then proceed to give the floor to Honorable Mahama Shaibu.
Let me thank you.
You are entitled to 3 questions, strictly questions. I can assure you, my lord, that every member of this committee may want to exhaust the 3 questions. So, strictly questions, no comment. And non-members of the committee, I plead with you to perpetually remain silent.